Hey there, Southern. This is Matt Sinclair of Film Guy Reviews, and I am a transfer student, and I am very excited to share my knowledge of film with you folks. And for my first review, I'll review the newly released tense thriller that is known as Gone Girl. So Gone Girl is about a man named Nick Dunn, played by Ben Affleck, who is about to celebrate the 5th anniversary with his wife Amy, played by Rosamund Pike. But that planned celebration is shattered by Amy's sudden disappearance, and eventually Nick finds himself in hot water, not just because he's trying to find his wife, but then the press gets involved, and as I try to dig deeper into the whole mystery, then they just keep asking the burning question, did Nick Dunn kill his wife? And it starts to take a toll on Nick's own personal life involving his family, and the whole thing just goes from there. So normally in my reviews I always dissect and go by the story, then the ups and then the downs, and then my overall consensus. And since I just ran over the story, I'll go right down to the ups, and luckily there's no downs. So the first up I'll go into is the performances. Now, Ben Affleck, I thought, gave the performance of his career as Nick. And he gives a very multifaceted performance as a simple man who showcases a rather boiling rage, and in his more quiet moments we find that he's unsure of his own enigma. And Rosamund Pike is equally as phenomenal as Nick's wife Amy, and I feel like the more I go into that performance I'll end up spoiling it, so I'll just say that she is just as multifaceted as Affleck is, and disappears into those facets without having to physically disappear into them. And I'll also say if he were alive, Pike's icy blonde portrayal would make Alfred Hitchcock proud. And then next I'll go into the direction. The film was brilliantly directed by David Fincher, and for those of you who don't know who he is, he also gave us Fight Club, Seven, Zodiac, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So he's got quite a repertoire in his filmography, and even though this film was shot the same way that some of his previous work is, it's a completely different story, or a completely different kind of thriller from Seven or Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I especially loved what he and the cinematographer did with the character of Amy in the first half of the film, because they focus on shining this bright light on her to sort of give her a more luminous yet haunting ghost-like quality to really fit the mystery surrounding her character, and I thought that was very fascinating. And lastly, I'll get into the story, and that's the last part I'm going to go into, because I worry that the more I go into this film I'll end up spoiling it, and I really want you guys to see this movie. So I'll just say that when I first saw the trailers for this film, I thought it would be a simple mystery thriller, and yet eventually, as the film progressed, it became something else, and then it would become another thing, and then another thing, and it's a crazy twist and turn kind of film, and yet I just found myself enthralled by it. And another thing I thought was neat was how in the first half of the film it does, and they incorporate voiceover narration by Amy and with her diary entries, and it occupies the flashback scenes as the film starts off by showing Nick and Amy as this happy-go-lucky, quintessential happy-go-lucky couple, and then eventually they become the quintessential struggling married couple. And I thought it was just, the whole thing was just fascinating, and like I said, there's no downs, so overall I thought Gone Girl was a very enthralling thriller that got me tangled up in its own web, and yet I enjoyed it from beginning to end. The performances are terrific, the direction is phenomenal, the story is something else, and focuses deeply on our human nature, and if you guys aren't on campus, I would highly recommend you guys check it out. So this is Matt Sinclair of Film Guy Reviews, and if you want to check out my full review of Gone Girl along with anything else related to film, You can check out my website, www.filmguyreviews.blogspot.com. This is Matt Sinclair of Film Guy Reviews, signing off. Stay classy.